What's up guys, this is Massey. Welcome to another video. In this video I want to talk about one-sided limits and to find out how to evaluate right limit or left limit or explain why it doesn't exist. I'm gonna show you some examples. The first one, it says limit of square root of 2 minus x when x is approaching 2 negative. So in this case, we're gonna say that the domain is 2 minus x has to be equal or greater than 0. It means that negative x has to be equal or greater than negative 2, or it means that x has to be equal or less than 2. So since 2 minus, it means that to the left side of positive 2, which means that it's a little bit smaller than positive 2. So that is a valid number. You're gonna say that exists and it's gonna be equal to 0. Next one, limit of square root of 2 minus x when x is going to plus. That's the right limit because we are talking about the x values slightly greater than positive 2. In this case, since it is not a valid number, you're gonna say the limit doesn't exist. Next one, limit of 2 minus x when x is approaching negative 2 from negative side. So again, here we are looking for x numbers less than negative 2, and since any number around negative 2 is a valid number, so we're gonna say that that's gonna be square root of 2 minus negative 2, which is gonna be square root of 4, and that's gonna be equal to 2. And on the other hand, if you want to find out the right limit, it is gonna be 2 minus negative 2, which is gonna be 4, and that's gonna be equal to 2. And we can say that since the right limit and left limit exists and they are equal to each other, we can say that the limit of square root of 2 minus x when x is approaching negative 2 exists and it's equal to 2. Next example, it's limit of x cubed minus x when x is approaching 0. So let's see if it exists or not. So in this case, we need to find out the positive and negative side, or right and left limit. I'm gonna say limit of square root of x cubed minus x when x is approaching 0 plus. That's gonna be x times x squared minus 1 . And here you're gonna say that 0 squared minus 1 is negative number, and here we have a positive number. So positive number times a negative number, we're gonna say that that does not exist. Why? Because number under square root cannot be a negative number. On the other hand, if we have left limit, still this number is gonna be negative 1, and here is gonna be a negative number, so negative times negative is gonna be positive. So we can say that that's gonna be square root of 0, which is gonna be 0. So the right limit doesn't exist and left limit is equal to 0. So we're gonna say that the limit of square root of x cubed minus x when x is approaching 0 does not exist. Next example, we have limit of x squared minus x to the power 4, and we need to find out the right limit when x is approaching 0. So in that case, it's gonna be x squared times 1 minus x squared when x is approaching 0 plus. In that case, we have x times square root of 1 minus x naught, which is gonna be 0 times 1, which is gonna be 0. Next example is limit of x squared minus x to the power 4 when x is approaching 0 minus. So it's going to be the left limit. Again, we factor that. And let's see what's happening here. That's going to be a negative number outside the square root, because when you take it out, it has to be negative. So 1 minus x squared. So in that case, again, it's gonna be equal to 0 because x is approaching toward 0. Next example is limit of absolute value of x minus a over x squared minus a squared when x is approaching a minus. We know if x is greater than a, you can say that the absolute value of x minus a equals to x minus a. If x is less than a, the absolute value of x minus a will be negative times x minus a. So we can say that limit of absolute value of x minus a over x squared minus a squared when x is approaching a minus, left limit, it's going to be negative x minus a, x minus a times x plus a. That's the difference of squares, so we can cancel numerator and denominator. So it's going to be limit negative 1 over x plus a when x is approaching a minus. That's going to be negative 1 over a squared. On the other hand, when we have right limit, that's going to be x minus a over x minus a times x plus a, which makes it as limit of positive 1 over x plus a when x is approaching a plus is going to be 1 over 2a. And here we need to write 2a, not a squared, 2a. So since the left limit and right limit are not equal, you're going to say that the limit doesn't exist. Next example. We have limit of x squared minus 4 over absolute value of x plus 2 when x is approaching 2 minus. You're gonna say that let's make it negative 2. That's gonna be better. You're gonna say that if x is equal or greater than -2 absolute value, then the absolute value of x plus 2 is going to be equal to x plus 2. If x is less than -2, the absolute value of x plus 2 is going to be negative times x plus 2. So that's going to make it as limit x minus 2 times x plus 2 divided by negative x plus 2 when x is approaching -2 minus. These two cancel out. It's going to be limit of x minus 2 over -1 when x is approaching. So it's going to be -4 over -1 equals to +4. And if you want to find out the right limit, you're going to say that that's going to be equal to limit of x minus 2 times x plus 2 divided by just x plus 2 when x is approaching -2 plus. Then these two cancel out. It's going to be limit of x minus 2 when x is approaching -2. That's going to make it as -4. So limit doesn't exist. Why? Because the right limit and left limits are different. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button below so you don't miss my next video. Thank you for watching and have a great day.